Hi y'all, this is Regina. Welcome back. I am test stitching something, some earrings, and they're little bow earrings. So hang on, let me turn this around. Alright, so this is what I'm test stitching. I'm not sure how it's going to work out with the loop being so far down below the top of the bow, but I'm going to try it anyway. Hang on just a second. Of course, you can stitch this any color you want. I'm going to stitch it in green because it's the same style bow that's on top of here. So the earrings would match this. So I've already done the loop, all right? And I always put the loop as the first color stop. So you can do it in silver or gold or whatever color you want to do it in. So I've done color stop number 1. Color stop number 2 is a green, and I'm just going to go ahead and stitch it in the same green. And I'm going to hold my thread tail so it doesn't get pulled below. I hate for it to do that. Whoops, and I did not trim my tails. Here, let me bring this up and let me trim my tail on the back. If you will do this before you do anything else, where's my thread? Here they are. If you will trim these tails that are left from doing the loop, it will save you a lot of heartache trying to cut threads out from where your hardware is going to go. Because sometimes it gets pulled into the little loop. Alright, so let me put this back on. And as always, I have 2 layers of water-soluble stabilizer. Alright, so let me back up a step. Alright, so we'll get started on the earring itself. And I'm going to trim that thread, and it just helps keep the if you pull that thread any from its original length that the machine cuts it, it just leaves too much of a tail on the back, and I just don't like that. That's me personally, and it keeps the back of the earring looking nice and neat. So always use the same thread in your bobbin that you're using at the top. Alright, so I'm going to keep this short. It's going to do this, and then it'll come over and do this side, and it'll do the same thing over here, and I'll be back. Color stop number 2 has finished. Now I'm going to use a little darker thread. It's getting ready to outline, and I'm hoping that this is going to show up darker than the green that's right there. Alright, so let's hope this will show up a little darker. Oh, I need to trim my thread tails. Alright. Alright, so keeping our fingers crossed that this comes through a little darker to highlight the outlining. Yes, and it will. Good. So I just want you to see how this is going to be stitching, so you'll know the path that it's taking. And there should not be any thread cuts until it does the circle in the middle, the little knot in the middle. Well, and even at that, it's going to cut, but I think I'm going to use the same darker thread color for the little center of the bow. You could put even a little bit darker thread color there. But you can see how that highlights the color of the bow by using a little bit darker thread. I'll be back in just a minute. Alright, so that stands out enough. Color stop number 4 is going to stitch the center. You could put a little bit darker green in here. I'm just going to leave the green that I used for the outline and let it stitch that. So it's broke down into 4 color stops, but you could actually use 2 maybe. But I like to give you options, so now it'll do the circles, and then it'll come back to do the center, and I thought I changed that, so I'm going to go change that. Alright, so I've changed that. It will stitch the circle, and then it'll do the satin stitch around the circle before it jumps over to the other one. So there won't be double thread tails on the back. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch the gift tag, and I'll be back when it's just about done. Alright, so my gift tag is finished, and I'm going to trim my thread tails. So I had my eyes dilated this afternoon, and it's a trip trying to do this. And I'm going to change to my darker green the same way that I did for the earrings. Alright, and you need to change your top thread. Alright, so now we're going to do the satin stitching around the outside. Sorry, my TV is up. I took my hearing aids off, and I've got the TV up, and I forgot to turn it down before I did this. Sorry about that. And I don't have my remote with me. Alright, so it's just going to do the satin stitching around the edges just like it did with the earrings, and I'll be back. Alright, so it's finished stitching all around the edges, and it's going to do the center of the bow. I'm going to take this off. I'm just going to use the same thread as I did for the satin stitching around the edges and trim my tails. And I'm just going to hit go and let it finish, and we'll be done. Okay, so it's going to do the center of the bow. You could make this a darker color once again. You could make it a lighter color. You could make it a completely different color and use red in the center. However you want to do it. Make it your own. I'll be back. Alright, so I just thought I'd show you. This was my original bow that I test stitched with the Mylar. This is my Santa split seam design on a t-shirt. And now we have the earrings and the gift tag to go with it. So let me get these rinsed out and I'll be back.